Welcome to this week's edition of Goose TV. I am your host, Charlie Stivers. And today's guest, I'm really excited to have a discussion about how he made the transition from physical gold and assets over to digital and his journey within that. So today's expert is a leading advocate for honest money. He's a U.S. congressional expert witness, 16-year veteran of precious metals industry, and the creator of the original Bitcoin coin and the creator of cold storage coins, which is the easiest way to put digital assets in someone's physical hands, and the founder of TEXITcoin. So we're going to get into his newest project and go along on this journey with him. Welcome to Goose TV, Bob Gray.
Hey there. Thanks, Charlie, for having me. I appreciate it. Good to be here.
Yeah, super excited. I got to see you speak here in Denver, and been following some of your journey with some of your holders and advocates here in the Denver area.
Yeah.
So it was awesome to meet you in person and see what you guys are up to. And I thought it was a really fascinating story and product that you guys are bringing to market.
Yeah, thanks.
So let's jump into it. Just take us on this journey from how you were deeply involved in physical assets like gold and silver and the coinage of those, and this journey into digital assets and some of the talents and market offerings that you're bringing to market and what it's kind of, I guess, evolving into.
Yeah. So the transition didn't happen overnight. In fact, it took 12 years for me to go from the world of gold, silver, coins, traditional coin manufacturing, all the way over to crypto. And it's not that I wasn't around the crypto conversation for a lot of that time. It's that it took me a dozen years to really understand the true value that lies inside of the cryptocurrency conversation. And so it's always fun when I'm talking to somebody that's from the gold and silver world. I'm explaining this story, telling them about my journey, telling them about this transition from one side of the value spectrum over to the other. And I just have to remember, like, okay, it took me 12 years to make this leap. I can't expect somebody to flip that switch in their mind, in a 5-minute conversation. So it's been a journey. So I got into coin manufacturing in 2008. And I did that because I went down the rabbit hole, as many other people did around that same time. The banks are failing, the world is starting to show its cracks. And I said, at the bottom of every one of these little conspiracy theory rabbit holes you go down, it's always the same thing. It's always money. And so who's doing something about the money problem? If we've got a money problem and you figure out that the Federal Reserve is this private bank and it's been around for 100 years and it's destroying the value of our currency very slowly over time. Who's trying to fix this? And I found this guy called Bernard von Nothus. And this guy started his own silver currency, minting traditional coins, stamping a value on there, and then going and trading those. And I thought that was great. That was the only thing I could find that was actively working to not necessarily replace the money supply, but to complement it and give people an alternative option. And that's a tough uphill battle because people think about dollars and we think about credit cards, debit cards, ATM cards. We think about, how fast can we spend money? And you've probably seen that Visa commercial where, people are out there just tap and tap and tap. And then somebody pulls out a dollar bill and it like breaks the whole system down. So we always think about money in terms of dollars. And if you go far enough back in our timeline here in our country, there was a time when we used gold and silver as a currency. So I thought what this guy was doing was great, and I decided to jump in and try to do my own as well. And I started the American Open Currency Standard in 2008. And we did very, very well. At the height of our success, I think we had about 26,000 businesses around the country that were actively bartering with gold, silver, and copper coins. And so that was kind of cool. The problem is that when you're using gold, silver, and copper to barter, you're kind of on this like old-fashioned horse and buggy. You're doing it the slow, old-fashioned way. Well, about the same time that I'm starting down this gold, silver barter path, somewhere else in the world, somebody else, maybe by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto, is launching cryptocurrency. And we both, I think, started down these parallel paths for very similar reasons. We don't like the banks, we don't trust the banks, and we really want to have a private alternative that's, you know, created by a decentralized group of, you know, people, no central authority. And so they went down the digital path, I went down the physical path, and here I am years and years later saying, man, they really had it right. They had it better than I did. Not that my project didn't work, and not that gold and silver aren't valuable, but if we're talking about establishing an alternative to the dollar, we need to use tools of our time. We need to use tools that that work in the digital age, and that's where cryptocurrency really takes the cake, and gold and silver really fall, unfortunately, by the wayside. So that's where it all began. It all started back in 2008 with making coins. Now, it's kind of not coincidental that Bitcoin is called Bitcoin, and I happen to be in the coin business, and you know, and I make and manufacture coins that commemorate different things. So in 2012, you know, I designed a coin to commemorate this, you know, digital currency movement, and there it is. I'm sure you and your
The real thing
audience have seen it thousands of times. I mean, it's everywhere. It's crypto. It's not, you know, Coke or Pepsi. It's soda. It's not Nike or Reebok. It's you know, it's shoe. It's the image that the entire industry has come to know and love as being representational of all things crypto, and that's great. So I created that coin back in 2012. I would argue that it's the most famous coin in the world today, but I didn't get into Bitcoin back then. And when we made this coin and brought it to market, you know, Bitcoin was $5 a coin. So joke's on me. I don't think we could have missed it any more than I missed it back then in 2012. So oops. Anyway, so made that coin back in 2012. It started this conversation. It started this idea about, okay, well, they're doing this digital thing, we're doing this tangible physical thing, and let's see who wins. Well, 2017, all of a sudden crypto takes off, you know, goes sky high in terms of dollar value. And I'm still looking at it and saying, man, there's something here. I got to pay attention to what's happening here. There's a whole industry. And I went to Korea to meet a friend that was putting on an event, and it was just thousands and thousands of people in a ballroom, all yelling and screaming about cryptocurrency. And still to this day, I hadn't done my first crypto transaction. But I'm looking at it, I'm saying, man, there's really something here. I really need to pay attention to this thing, because it's not like that in the gold and silver world. You go out to a gold and silver conference, there's a couple hundred people, but it doesn't have the same energy that that crypto has. So I decided that I was going to manufacture a product at that time in 2017 for the crypto community. 2017, there's a lot of interest in digital currency, but we've got digital threats now. We've got hackers, we've got exchanges going bankrupt, we've got, you know, computer crashes, we've got lost passwords, we've got all this digital risk now that's brand new. And in the old days, if you lost your ATM card, you just walk down to the bank and you get a replacement. And so, you know, crypto is kind of the Wild West of money and banking. There's no chargebacks, there's no refunds, there's no do-overs. And I said, you know, as a guy that understands the physicality of value, I have an opportunity to create something that can work as a bridge between these two worlds. You got the digital world on one side, the physical world on the other. And what if I, you know, dusted off my world famous coin design and decided to turn it into a functional product that crypto enthusiasts could use to keep their digital assets safe, offline, where it can't get hacked and it won't go out of business. And that's when I created cold storage coins back in 2017. So we've made hundreds of thousands of cold storage coins. They work great. We've never had one fail in the 7 years that we've been manufacturing those coins. People in the crypto industry are hesitant to use them from time to time, but they make great gifts, and it's a really easy way to put, you know, a digital asset in somebody's hand as a gift or a birthday present or Christmas present. So we've made a lot of those coins, but still, I'm not into the digital side of it. I'm still kind of dragging my heels in the ground, resisting this digital asset possibility. And that all ended quite recently when I finally gave in and started TEXITcoin. So that's the long story short on the background.
fascinating. I failed to grab the coins I had out of my my safe, but
well, that's the right place to keep them locked up.
Right?
You know, the problem with the coins is that if you lose the coin, there's no backup, there's no seed phrase, there's no way to recover it. So if you lose the coin, the digital asset has also gone along with it.
Yep. So, that's a best practices across the board in anything crypto.
Yep.
But so just to be clear, I mean, is there any collectability or the numismatic value to them, or is it primarily just this utility for cold storage?
It's almost all utility. Obviously, it's a coin, so once you take the sticker off the back and cash it out, it's a commemorative. But we tried making them in gold and silver back at the beginning to have more of a numismatic appeal. And the reality is that people are actually using them as functional cold storage devices. They're really designed to be like a one-time use. So, once you take that tamper evidence seal off the back and you wipe away the glue and you scan the QR code, you really shouldn't use it again, because now you've brought that private key back into the world of digital risk. So because they actually do get used and they work properly for their intended use every single time, we don't encourage people to use the gold and silver versions unless they're dealing with a very high value. At a $20 price point per unit, it's kind of the least expensive product of its type on the market. But again, it's designed to be a single use. We think of them as deep cold storage, where you've got something like a Trezor or a Ledger device. That's something that you can go in and out of as many times as you like. But there's code in there. There's a trust factor with the concept of it working reliably every time and somebody not having a backdoor to get into that. Whereas these coins are as cold and offline as they get. No moving parts, no chips, no lines of code, no NFC, nothing whatsoever. They're a low-tech, simple way to get started with a complicated subject, crypto.
Yeah. And so for people to test these out, you're offering those for free, just pay shipping and handling,
That's
which
right.
is a really nice benefit.
Yeah.
Maybe go into that a little bit and what they may discover briefly.
Yeah, the coin is really designed as an onboarding tool. And so I love giving them away. We'll go out to events and conferences and put them in drop bags and all that stuff. But if you go to FreeBitcoinWallet.com, you can go and get one there for free. Your first one's always free for $3.95 shipping and handling, which I think is a pretty fair deal. But again, the idea is use it as a beginner's tool. Use it as my first Bitcoin. Use it as a way to put some crypto in grandma's hands or in the new baby's hands. Have them, stuff it away, forget about it, and come back and look at it in 5 years. I mean, you can go back now all throughout history, the history of the timeline of Bitcoin. And if somebody gave you, a couple $100 of Bitcoin 5 years ago, that would have really worked out well today, or 10 years ago, even better. We don't know what the future holds for it, but I definitely am confident that with, Bitcoin's limited supply, that it's very likely to continue to go up in value as those coins become more and more rare. Some gigantic percentage of Bitcoin are completely gone and inaccessible because people have, lost the passwords or the computer hard drives or the private keys or whatever it is. So, so we've got this anti-inflationary currency, and you can stick a couple bucks of it on a coin, hide the coin in a safe or a safe deposit box, and then come back in a couple of years and see if you've got a commemorative coin or a mortgage payoff in there. And that's the thing that's so exciting about crypto, that potential for an amazing upside.
Yeah, absolutely. So with your journey from gold and silver and physical assets to digital and Bitcoin and crypto,
And that
what
journey
were
is
some of the
complete now. I'm totally out. I'm completely out. I sold my last couple of manufacturing machines last July, and I'm done. I'm not going back.
Ooh, nice.
I've started
Congrats.
3 coin factories in the last 16 years, and I'm not starting any more coin factories. I'm full crypto now. I've made the transition, taken the plunge all the way. I'm out.
Well, congrats. What are some of the lessons that you learned from gold and silver and transitioning over to crypto and Bitcoin?
I would say the lessons are really business lessons mostly. Any type of manufacturing is going to be valuable, but it's all about material handling and efficiently moving, a raw material from one form, starting with a big bar of silver and then turning that into physical coins. There's a process there, and the more efficiently you can go through that process, the less material handling you have, the more you can scale that and produce volume, the more money you make. It's hard work manufacturing, and that's why, it's not really done that much anymore in our country. So someone's got to make the stuff. Someone has to make the coins, and so there's always an opportunity for people to make things. So I don't want to tell you that I didn't enjoy the manufacturing side of it. I love creating things. I love taking a raw material and turning it into something totally different. That was definitely enjoyable. The problem is the world is changing so fast now. And when you invest in infrastructure, buildings, square footage, big power, heavy machines, I mean, hundreds of thousands of pounds of machinery and equipment, and then all of a sudden somebody flips a switch and shuts down your industry, you go, oh, well, that's terrible. Now we've got to move countries or move states or, go somewhere else where the, rules didn't shut my business down. That's tough, man. When you're in manufacturing and you've got, physical equipment and a plant full of workers and materials. And so one of the things that I've really enjoyed about the transition is that most of the work that I do now is on a laptop. If I can sit down in a cafe somewhere or in a massage chair on the beach, wherever I am, if I've got a laptop and an internet connection, I'm able to create value. And I've really enjoyed that part of the transition. It's not as backbreaking as working in precious metals, which is great. And I also have the flexibility now to do the work that I'm doing from anywhere I've got a connection to the internet, which is very enjoyable in today's world where you don't really know what they're going to throw at you next.
Yeah, agreed. And it's nice to be able to travel and still be productive.
Yes.
So you mentioned, people manufacturing coins and making coins.
Yeah.
So one of the hot topics right now is mining, and that's another way that you can make and manufacture coins digitally.
That's right.
So let's jump into that. I mean, it's a very hot topic right now, and it kind of always has been, the mining aspect, the passive income aspect of crypto. So take us on that part of your journey, and we'll get into what you're bringing to market.
Well, I think we're seeing a resurgence in the mining interest and conversation because of two things, maybe three: low energy prices in the U.S. and Texas, specifically. Two is immersion cooling, and I didn't know anything about immersion cooling until just recently. And immersion cooling is cool. Do you know anything about immersion cooling? It's awesome. I mean, my mind was blown when I saw somebody take, a $15,000 ASIC and drop it into a tub of like essentially a mineral oil, and it didn't blow up, and you can put your hand in there and, feel the warm liquid. It's 1,600 times more thermally dynamic than airflow is. So you're keeping your machines much cooler. Plus, you're cutting down on your electricity consumption because now you don't have to run a fan to circulate the air. And that also cuts down on the noise quite a bit as well. So immersion cooling, I don't know if it's new. I don't know how long it's been used in the industry, but it's really, as far as what I can see and personally experience, it's a bit of a game changer. And it gives you the ability to have more mining infrastructure built in hot places like Texas. So yes, there's a big conversation now about mining. The new administration coming in the U.S. federal government is also putting a lot of the spotlight on that. But immersion cooling, low energy prices, and the changing political climate has definitely reignited this conversation for cryptocurrency mining. And it's great to be right here in Texas, right in the middle of the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so the name of your coin and project's called TEXITcoin.
That's right.
And so take us on your entrepreneurial journey and why TEXITcoin, like what's in it for us as users, investors.
Sure.
It's pretty fascinating. So let's have fun with this part.
Well, I'm really happy with that transition. And I would say that it's enjoyable to look back over all the things that I've done in my career and say, man, this thing was really built for me. I mean, this thing that I'm doing right now was just patiently waiting all these years for me to show up. And I'm really happy looking back at the things that I've done, both successes and failures that have created the opportunity for me to be at the right place at the right time with this discussion. And again, I don't think any of that is coincidental. But about the same time that I'm saying, all right, I'm getting out of coin manufacturing, I'm done. I don't know what I'm going to do next, but I know that it's something digital. I know that it's got something to do with crypto. The reason that I got out is because, coin manufacturing, I was making, on a good month, like 50,000 silver rounds a month for the largest coin dealer in the world. And all of a sudden, they stopped buying the best-selling coin that I was producing for them. And I said, why? I don't want to tell you what it is. And long story short, they stopped buying it. I said, this doesn't make any sense. They said, well, if we sell that product, we're not really able to market ourselves to a young audience. And we really want to bring on a younger audience to start buying gold and silver coins. And I thought about it for a minute and I said, man, that's crazy. Young people don't buy gold and silver coins. The world's not making any more gold and silver buyers. And so this is July of 2023. And I said, the writing's on the wall for me. I'm out. And I've got experience in this crypto world. I've been around this conversation now for 11, 12, 13 years. And so I know that there's an opportunity there. I just don't really have a connection with it yet. But I say, I'm getting into crypto. It's going to happen. I look at everything that's out there and I say, I don't really like any of these current digital assets because most of them are primarily mined now in China. And there's no way that we're going to be able to outmine China. And I don't want to build on top of something that's already, built out and controlled by China. And so what is there out there right now that doesn't fall into that category? And I couldn't find anything. So I said, all right, that means we've got to build it ourselves, which takes us into the conversation of, okay, do we deploy on like Ethereum or do we deploy on like a Solana or are we going to build a layer one? And I said, the only way that we can really do this right is if we build our own layer one. And that's when I heard in the national discussion the idea of Texit. And I said, man, that's it. Texas is going to leave the US. I don't know if it's going to happen now or in a year or 5 years or 10 years, but I do believe it's going to happen in our lifetime. If Texas leaves the US and the US empire crumbles, as every empire has failed over the course of mankind, they're going to need a currency. And in my old days, I would have started minting up gold and silver coins for them. But no, not today. Today, we're going digital. I'm making TEXITcoin. And did some research on the technologies that were out there, decided that I would take a clone of Litecoin, make some changes to it, start with a blank slate, no pre-mine, and voila, January 26, 2024, I mined the first blocks of TEXITcoin, the currency of the future independent Republic of Texas. And that's how we got to where we are today in the discussion of taking the knowledge and experience that I have in the realm of alternative currencies, which is vast, and applying it now to my rocket ship that I built, which I call TEXITcoin. So it's continuation of all the work that I've been doing for years and years in alternative complementary currencies. I had the privilege of testifying in front of U.S. Congressman Ron Paul's Domestic Monetary Policy Subcommittee back in 2012 about alternative currencies. Before most people ever heard about Bitcoin, I'm in there giving a speech about alternative currencies. And again, my vehicle back then was gold and silver. Bitcoin was still very new. Most people never heard of it. I had just created the original Bitcoin commemorative, but this conversation's been going on for a very long time. And so I think that it makes me uniquely qualified to take the post of the champion of honest money in the digital currency realm. I looked at all the things that are out there and I'm like, who's working on establishing cryptocurrency as an actual currency? Everyone's building something great on top of it. And there are a lot of great uses for blockchain. I won't argue with most of them. There's a lot of stupid things people are doing as well. But, medical record certification and voting, systems. And there's so many great things you can do. There's so much transparency and honesty that blockchain technology brings to the world. But we kind of have abandoned the original core mission of cryptocurrency, which is to be a decentralized currency. Who's the champion in the crypto space now for getting it actually used as a currency? Nobody? Well, that's what I do. I think the last guy that really did that was Roger Ver. And he started Bitcoin Cash to be, a usable, functional version of that. And, he's got some people that like him, some people that don't. But I think he's kind of retired now from crypto. I haven't seen him real active in the space in a long time. And so I said, all right, that's me. I know what to do. I know how to do this. I know how to roll it out. I've already done it successfully. And now with my own little crypto rocket ship, I will do it just as fast as anybody else can with this new vehicle. And so that the idea of Texas secession, Texas, going its own way eventually brought together the pieces that I really needed to be able to wrap our project in a specific mission and tie it to a particular geographic region. And so TEXITcoin, so far as I know, is the only crypto that's out there that actually has a geographic limitation on where we can actually set up and deploy the mining. And so, it's not coincidental that we're right here in Texas, where the national spotlight is now centered around this cryptocurrency mining conversation. And we're right there with the same tools, the same quality hardware, the same strategy, the same vision for establishing this trustworthy network. The difference with TEXITcoin is that we've got a private network that can't get uncompetitively outmined by foreign nations and mega corporations and banks. And we like that, and we're betting on it working properly to take our coin to the top 100.
Yeah, and I just saw, and congratulations, now you're listed on coinmarketcap.com. For the audience who's curious, your symbol is TXC.
Correct.
So I think you can search it by that symbol or even Texit, right?
You can. I think TEXITcoin or TXC or Texit will pop that up. And there's still a lot of learning that is happening right now from my side, because this is my first time getting involved in the digital asset side. I've been involved in the alternative and complementary currency discussion. I've been involved in the physical manufacturing of commemorative coins and cold storage wallets, but this is my first time actually launching a crypto. And if you call the experts and you say, how do I launch a crypto? Well, you got to get an influencer, and you got to get your liquidity, and you got to do your pumps and all that. I'm like, no. I don't want any of that. We're going to do it the old fashioned way. We're going to build the mine. We're going to go around and we're going to crowdsource this mine. We're only going to have individuals in here. We're only going to have normal everyday people that want to be involved with the creation and the security of their money. And we're going to use this thing as a currency inside of our network. We want 1 million people. It's going to take time for us to get that community together, but we're off to a great start. So we're going to do it that way, the old-fashioned way, the hard way. And so, yeah, it's a great conversation, and it's going to take a while for us to achieve our major goal. But that is our goal. Our goal is to look and smell and taste and feel like any other crypto that's out there, with this incredibly unique competitive advantage where mining is closed. And I've wrestled with this question of, could we make a top 100 crypto with a closed private network? And I said, I don't know. Litecoin and Doge, they're both big, billions of dollars of value. We're going to be about 1/10 the size of the Litecoin mining network once we get to our goal, our hash power goal. But those are both open public networks that anybody can join. We're going to be closed. Is there a possibility that a closed permission private coin can get onto the top 100? And I said, I don't know. It's a bit of a risk. I think we can do it, but it's still a risk. And then one day, and I don't know why it never dawned on me before, but I was like, is there any coin, and this is a question for you, is there any coin in the top 100 that's closed, private, permissioned, that is a substantial coin, is a valuable coin? Is there anything that you can think of that's permissioned, private, you can't mine it, that's a top 100 coin? What do you got?
It's a good point. I don't.
So that's my gamble, right?
Right. Yeah.
Until I stopped and I said, wait a minute, Ripple, XRP.
Mm-hmm.
It's number 6, 5, 6, 7, somewhere. It's a $50-60 billion coin. It's totally locked down. It's totally permissioned, and it's not even a mineable coin. It's kind of like a shit coin, And I'm like, man, I can't believe I never thought of that. Why is Ripple, as a closed permission network that's not even mineable, they release coins whenever they want, why is it a top 10 coin? The answer is simple. They've got a great mission, and they've got great leadership. We've got a great mission, and we've got great leadership as well. And so, in the past, I looked at it and I said, okay, if we get to the top 100, which I'm very confident that we can do when we have 100 million mega hash in our mine, I think we can get to the top 100. I think we can hit $1 billion value. That puts us, if we are able to do it in like 12 to 14 months, around to like a $16 TEXITcoin price. So we got a ways to go, but I think that that's possible. And now I'm looking at it totally different and saying, man, with a great mission, with being able to actually roll out a private cryptocurrency throughout the state of Texas, and I got all kinds of stuff I can't even talk about right now that's happened in just the last few days. We got some exciting news, but but if we're able to do that, why would we look at ourselves as just an starting point on the top 100 when, we've got the best of both worlds combined. Instead of looking at us as a fraction of Doge and Litecoin, which have, $35-40 billion value, if we're at 1/10 of that in terms of mining power, maybe we're at $1 billion or 2 or 3 or 4. But we've got the best of Litecoin, Doge, and Ripple. So we're private with permissions and leadership and a mission, and we're mineable, which means people can participate and have a passive income or, get involved in the creation of their own currency. So we got the best of both of those things. Why not add them together and look at that as now a new target? So $880 TEXITcoin is my new goal. I'm not messing around at 16 anymore.
Wow.
Again, we got to shoot for the moon. And if we miss, we end up somewhere amongst the stars, as they say. But it's not a joke. This is my life's work. This is not something that I just fell into to make a quick buck. This is something that I started back in 2008. And you can go back through the timeline and watch the videos from 10, 12, 15 years ago. It's the same story, same message. I'm the same guy. I'm just on a digital rocket ship now. I got off my horse and buggy, and I couldn't be happier to be right here in the middle of this conversation now today.
Yeah, and one of the things I really dig about your whole journey is you're making it easier for to onboard people into crypto.
Sure.
Through your physical coins,
Right.
and then now through mining, which again is very hot. So talk
And
about
we bring
how
those both together in that mining realm as well. So like if somebody jumps in and joins our mining program, we'll send them a cold storage coin that the mining is linked to. So every day around 6 o'clock Texas time, the mine pays out day in and day out, whatever the proportional amount is to that cold storage wallet. And the reason we do that is because most of the people that are joining us, this is their first toe getting dipped into the crypto conversation. And it's great. That's the way I want it for a couple of reasons. One is I get a lot of pushback from the crypto community. You can't do it that way. No. You need to have $5 million of liquidity and your blah, 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 and your market and that's not how we're doing it. We're building a mine. And so our audience and the credibility that I have through the work that I've done in the gold and silver conversation, I'm going back to my customers and my friends now from that industry and saying, hey guys, we missed it. I missed it. You missed it. But we're not out of the conversation because they made a mistake. They kind of sold out. I don't know if you've been to a crypto conference recently, but man, it's big money there now. It's not a bunch of young guys and geeks that are all excited about digital currency. It's money, and it blows my mind to hear guys saying, oh, JP Morgan's going to be headlining the conference this month. I'm like, wait a minute. No. We don't like those guys. That's the other team, man. BlackRock is getting involved and doing, I'm like, what are we talking about? We've lost our way. Setting aside the fact that this is now crypto is mostly now mined out of China. The conversation has gotten very centralized over the last 4, 5, 6 years. As the money has shown up, the industry has gone very centralized. And so the guys that are on the sidelines, my gold and silver buyers, my guys that go out to gun shows, like we're having a great time now going out to gun shows and just having a conversation with normal people. Hey, are you into crypto? No. Well, would you think about it? Well, maybe I'd think about it. Would you take a $10 chance today on a new coin you've never heard about before? Okay, I'll take a $10. If you could go back in time, would you buy $10 of Bitcoin back when it was 10 cents? Sure, of course I would. Great. So we're having a conversation with people that are new to crypto. They missed it. I missed it. And now this is a bit of a second chance for them. So it's a fun conversation to have. We love the crypto guys as well. But they're a little more critical because they've seen it all. They've heard it all before. Hey, we're going to 16. Yeah. Nice try. Who's your influencer? Who's your celebrity that's going to promote it? We don't have one. Good luck. Nice try. So we're having a conversation with people that are new to crypto, and it takes them a little more time to wrap their mind around it. And so that's why the training and the education and the Zoom calls that we do every Tuesday are so valuable, because we're learning about what a hot wallet is and what a private key is and how to set up an account on an exchange and what USDT is and how to move it over from Coinbase to, Dex Trade. So the cold storage wallet makes it really easy for somebody to get in, get started, and then just forget about it. People are busy. They got better things to do than to tune in on a Tuesday night for my news and updates. So, hey, the mine pays out to your coin. Just keep the coin safe. Your job is one thing. Don't lose the coin. Keep the coin safe, and then forget about it. Cross your fingers. Wish us luck. We've got work to do, but there's nothing else that they have to do, especially because the mine pays out directly to the cold storage wallet, and that just makes it easy for them to have a little bit of a finger in the pie and participate. And then a lot of those people come back around. They say, okay, well what do I do now? I've got a lot and I want to sell some. All right, let's get started. Let's set up a hot wallet. Let's modify the mine payout to go to your hot wallet. Let's, move that over to DexTrade. Let's go through this process. And it's completely uncomfortable and unfamiliar the first time they do it. Then they do it a time or two, and all of a sudden now they've got the lingo down, and they can have a conversation with the crypto kids and not feel out of place. So that's what we really like about the coins. The coins are a bridge between these two vastly different worlds of, tangible, physical, hard money that we've known and loved and trusted for thousands of years, and this brave new world of digital currency, which is clearly and obviously the future of money and currency. So we like it because it's a bridge. It helps people connect those two dots in their mind.
Yeah, and the one thing that I really like is how it encourages, the community participation. You said influencers. So, the most valuable, part of crypto is community and its user base.
Right.
So maybe talk about how you're encouraging participation in the TEXITcoin mining, and then the benefits it has to your individual miners. Because just so people know, I researched it on your blockchain explorer, and everyone's getting, or not everyone, but a lot of the distributions were 254 per day. Is that right? And then
so
if you do the math times 16 is your goal.
So 254 is the block reward. So every time a new block gets created, that's 254 coins there. We do about 350 blocks a day. It's designed to create a block every 3 minutes or so, but it's, a bit of a lottery, and it depends on lots of other factors. So our network produces about 90,000 coins a day. Those 90,000 coins per day then get distributed proportionally to the people that own the hash power. So if somebody joins our mine, they're going to buy, for $1,000, 100 mega hash. So what we do is we grow the mine by 100 mega hash, just a tiny amount every time somebody jumps in. And our goal is 100 million mega hash. 1 million people times 100 mega hash per person is 100 million mega hash. And that'll put us about 1/12 of the size of the Litecoin Doge network. But it's exclusive for Texas. It's only open to individuals. And so the question is whether or not we can find those 1 million people and how long it'll take us to get there. So that's through our affiliate reward program, which is kind of cool. So the network puts out 90,000 coins a day. It doesn't matter if we have 1 miner or 1,000 miners. It's always going to make about the same number of coins per day. So depending on how much hash power each individual owns, you can do the math and figure out, okay, the total network now is running at 170,000 mega hash. I've got 100 of those hash. Here's how many coins I'm going to get every day. So all of that data is publicly accessible on our website so that you can see it, so you can verify that the mine is paying out. You can see who the big holders are, and you can also see whether or not they're actively trading it. About 90% of the TEXITcoin that's paid out every day right now is going to and getting placed onto cold storage wallets. It's not locked there. It's just kind of inaccessible and not actively traded. And so part of the strategy is we only have a limited amount of TEXITcoin that's showing up on the market for sale. Now I'm going back to our miners and I'm starting to encourage them to do more trading and more selling, because we need to have some coins for sale in order for us to have an active market and for the price to go up, which is ultimately what we want. So that happens through the mining program. I can't remember the other part of the question that you asked. There was another point that I wanted to add in there about that.
Yeah, just more like encouraging the community participation in the mining. So maybe you can talk about that.
Community. For us, we can go out and we can borrow the money to build a mine any day of the week, right? If we have a gigantic 100 million mega hash mine and nobody's talking about it, it's worthless, right? We need a community of engaged, motivated participants to talk about TEXITcoin. Otherwise, we don't have a thing. So that's why our rewards program is so important as it relates to not just growing the mine, but also growing the community of people that are that have a vested interest and some sort of incentive to go out there and spread the message of TEXITcoin. This is the same way that Bitcoin got onto the map from 2014 to 2018. There were guys out there that were saying, hey, come join us, mine Bitcoin with us. You can have your own little piggy bank. Your mining pays out every day to your wallet. and then tell people about it. And you get referral rewards, more hash power. So we're doing the exact same thing. We've basically borrowed that playbook because it's a playbook that's proven to work. The difference between what happened to them and the terrible fate that they reached and what's happening with us that we expect to be totally different is that they were mining Bitcoin. We're mining TEXITcoin. We don't have to worry about competing with anybody other than ourselves. In the TEXITcoin mining, I'm not competing against China. I'm competing against you and all the other guys that are mining TEXITcoin. It's like, okay, well, why do we do that? Well, because we have to figure out some sort of fair way of getting our currency into circulation. So we do it through the miners. And if there's an entry point that every miner has to go through to buy into the mining pool, then we all have a level playing field, right? Nobody's able to attack this thing from outside with gigantic hash power and take the bulk of those coins that are coming off the mine. So at the end of 2017, when the price of Bitcoin went through the roof, it became almost impossible to buy mining hardware from China. Why? Well, because they make the chips. You can't outmine China. Anytime I hear a story about, oh, there's a new Bitcoin mining operation coming to Texas, I'm like, well, set the clock. They got 5 years and then they're done. Why? Because you can't outmine China. You throw a million mega hash or 100,000 ASICs at mining Bitcoin, they'll throw 200,000. They'll throw 2 million at it. You can't outmine the guy that makes the chips, because if the price goes up, they just stop selling the chips. And so with our closed network, we're only competing against each other. It doesn't matter if we have 100,000 mega hash or 100 million mega hash. Our network's always going to produce the same thing. Okay, so how big do we want to get? Well, the question really begins with how big do we want our community to get? And that's why I looked at it and I said, well, when they did it back from 2014 to 2018, they had 1.7 million people and they got Bitcoin on the map in a very big way. So I want 1 million people. Okay, well, how big does the network need to be? Well, if we add 100 mega hash with every person that joins and we reach our goal, that puts us at 100 million mega hash. So I went out to Las Vegas to a conference of immersion cooling out there run by Bitmain. The top mining minds in the world are at this conference. I'm talking to these guys and I'm saying, we want to have a privately mined coin, but we want to build a mine that's so big that it cannot be unnoticed and avoided in the crypto community. How big of a mine do we need to create in order for us to have that? And the guys got out their pens and calculators and they said, okay, you're going to carry the one. And well, you really need to be running at about 30 megawatts of power. I said, power. Okay. Well, the mining thing is all about the power conversation. And I said, okay, well, we were going to do 100 million mega hash running on these L7s and L9s. And we think it's going to pull about 35 megawatts of power. So that's where we started with our initial idea. Got it verified by some experts in the community that will put us onto the global into the global conversation of crypto mining. And so that's the goal. Largest decentralized privately owned mine here in Texas, running at 100 million mega hash with 1 million TEXITcoin holders, miners, supporters out there talking about TEXITcoin, trading TEXITcoin, building the TEXITcoin marketplace where we can trade goods and services. Again, that's my real background. That's what I'm very good at. The currency side of this thing. Going around to business owners, inviting them to join us and mine with us, join us and trade with us. And so that's all coming as we get further along into our roadmap. But it's the community. It's the community that really counts. You know, a giant mine without a community is worthless. A giant community without, you know, something real to plant deep roots into this, you know, ever shifting and changing soil is, you know, makes our job much more difficult. So that's why we chose the hard path of building the mine. Which is great for me because I've got this background in industrial and, you know, manufacturing. So I'm familiar with things like, you know, power requirements and immersion cooling and heat exchangers and pumps and all the stuff that you need to know in order to deploy, you know, a sizable, reputable mine without having to pay millions and millions of dollars to consultants to come and set it up for you. So uniquely qualified, I'd say.
Yeah, and that's a great solution because, you know, I enjoy some mining myself, but I mean, that could almost be like a full-time job sometimes.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Did you get into the immersion cooling as well?
I've seen it, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm not going to take that leap.
That's
You
so
know, I don't
cool.
have. Yeah,
It's
is
just
pretty fascinating.
so quiet. I mean, when I was running the mine back in our garage, it was screaming day and night, screaming. And you walk into the garage, it's 120 degrees in there. And the mines are dropping like flies because they're overheating. I'm like, man, there's got to be a better way. Oh, there is. It's called immersion cooling, and it's awesome. It changed the game for us. Now it's silent. cuts down on the electric consumption, and it's just fun to look at. It's fun to put your hand into this tub with all this power. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of amps of power, going into a liquid solution, and no risk. It's very cool. So again, the background in coin manufacturing, the background in the alternative currency discussion, the background in the industrial type of thing, it's put me in a spot here where I'm able to deploy TexitCoin, get it going very well, very quickly in the direction we want to go. And now it's just all about building the community. And that is starting to happen and starting to double. And the momentum now that's coming into the mining network is almost, it's not done yet. Like, we still have a long way to go. We got 450 miners now, right? So 450 is still a long way off from 1 million, but you start doubling every month. And then the next month it's 1,000, and then 2, and 4, and then it's 11 months until you hit 1 million. And I'm very confident that we'll hit that number. The conversation is very well received. The price point is reasonable. $1,000 is a lot of money for a lot of people. Some people say, well, it's what I blow on Friday night when I'm out at the casino, so why not? Okay, sure. Okay, fine.
Jump into your model a little bit.
One more time. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Jump into your model for how people can participate with you as a miner or investor.
So we call them miners. Again, we like to think of it as being a risk. There's a big difference between risky and scammy. I've worked a lot on articles and documentation to help people understand the difference between the two. Is there a physical address? Yes. Would you like to come visit the mine? It's right here. Is it run by a real team of people, or is it like a bunch of fake names and AI generated images on the website? Is there a clear mission? Yeah, we have all those things. Do I have background in crypto? Not the digital asset side, but I've got some pretty good credibility when it comes to being in and around the industry. So it's a risk. And I don't want anyone jumping in and taking the risk unless they're comfortable taking that risk and putting that money to work and being able to comfortably lose it. I'm not here to lose your money. I'm here every day to work hard on accomplishing our goals. And it is what I do every day. It's not a side project for me. It's not something I do while I'm doing something else. This is my work. And I'm very proud of it. But I don't want anyone to jump in without feeling comfortable taking that journey with me. Because it's, number one, I wouldn't say it's a long shot anymore. If you joined back in April, I'd say, well, we have a hunch. Today, it's not a hunch anymore. Just by the virtue of this community doubling in size now, you can see that we know where we're going, and it's easier and easier to bring people along with us. We're not at critical mass yet. I think that tipping point comes at about 10,000 people. So that's still a couple months off, which is great because it gives more people an opportunity to get in early if they want. But it is a bit of a leap of faith, and I want to be very clear about that. And remember what my job is. My job is to go out there and build the mine. And what I tell people is, look, if we find our 1 million people and I build this mine and I follow through on doing the things that I say I'm going to do, I think we're going to be on the top 100. It's going to be very hard for the industry to ignore us, especially when we're merge mining Litecoin and Doge. We just hit our first Litecoin blocks the other day. It's really, really fun to say, hey, I've taken your blocks. You can't have mine, but now I've got yours, right? And it's just, we hit 2. But I got your blocks. I got your transaction fees. They're mine now, right? And I'm coming for 10% of them. So we're not messing around here. So when the industry goes, hey, who's taking 10% of our blocks? Can we get theirs? No, you can't. It's private. It's only in Texas. So that's fun. So I think we'll be on the top 100. I can look you in the eye and tell you that, yeah, I think we'll be at $16. I think it's going to take a year or so to get there. And that's another thing as well. It's not a get rich quick scheme, right? This is not sign up today and we're going to hit 16 tomorrow. You don't want that to happen, because when you join the mine, you get a small piece of it every day. So it's like, okay, well, if I join the mine and I get like 100 coins in the next 2 or 3 days and you hit 16, yeah, okay, I made some money, but you really want to stockpile like 10,000 coins over the next year. So if you join the mine today, you put $1,000 in, you'll get about 10, 12,000 coins over the next 12 to 14 months as we work towards that goal. If you put $1,000 in, you get 10,000 coins. We hit $16, which I think is a reasonable thing to say in our community. You turn $1,000 into $160,000. I say that and people are like, no, it's kind of a disappointment. I really wanted to be a millionaire. I'm like, sorry. We're talking about a reasonable guy that's here on planet Earth having a rational discussion with people, telling you can 160x your money and that's not enough. Yeah. In the crypto space, man, it's all about 1,000x, 10,000x. Like, And it's funny because it's the only industry where you can talk like that and people still take you seriously. Like, hey man, I've got this real estate house that we can do like a fixer upper, and we'll 100x our money. It's like that doesn't exist in anywhere outside of cryptocurrency. So it's that's my best guess. My best guess is, put $1,000 in the next 12, 14 months as we build the mine, find our community, let our voice start to be heard, which I think is going to be pretty easy given the new administration coming in and all of the attention and the spotlight that's now on Texas. We're going to take that one step further with something that I don't want to talk about just yet because I don't want to jinx it. But I'll have more information this week on it, so tune in again next week if you like. But I think that we're going to be at the right place at the right time. And if we catch the wave now, we'll get there early. I don't really care if we catch the wave now or later because there's plenty of room in the market as crypto gets bigger for lots of guys to succeed, maybe in ways very similar to what we're doing with a private coin. We've got a great story. We've got a great mission. We've got great leadership. We've got a great team and community coming together, but it's not the only story that's out there. Somebody else probably has a good story as well. So $1,000 gets you in. It pays out TEXITcoin every day. Remember that the payout gets smaller and smaller as the pie gets bigger and bigger, right? And so the way that we've designed it to offset that is through referrals. We call it 1, 2 free. If you refer 3 people, we give you an extra 100 mega hash. For every 1, 2, 3 that you do, we give you an extra 100 mega hash for free. There's some cash in there as well. If people want to learn more about that, you can earn cash rewards. But the point is that we want to give people an incentive to go out there, talk about TEXITcoin, grow our community, bring friends, family, relatives, coworkers into our community as well. We're building something different. It's a little strange. It's definitely unique in the community, but we know what we're doing. We've seen it done successfully before. We know what the other guys have done to fail. And that's why I tell people you've got 2 jobs. Number 1, watch my back. Number 2, hold me accountable. I cannot tell you how many guys have done something similar to this and messed it up because they didn't do what they said they were going to do. And that's mind-blowing. It's like, guys, you've got hundreds of millions, billions of dollars sitting there in front of you. You just have to follow through. Why is it so hard?
Yeah, that's integrity too. Yeah.
Well, the thing that we're doing is using blockchain technology to give our community the transparency that everyone else talks about with blockchain technology. I didn't mention it earlier, but one of the things that I created in parallel with the cold storage coins was a technology that I called Beavis. And stop me if I've already mentioned it to you and you don't think it's relevant.
No, I saw it on the website last night. So yeah, go into that.
So
we got about 4 minutes.
Beavis means blockchain-enabled verification and information service, right? BEVIS. Actually, it's pronounced Bevis. It's a Nordic word for proof, right? That's where it came from. But the idea was, hey, I'm manufacturing these cold storage coins. I generate the key pair. Get over it. I know how to do it. You don't. I have a secure environment. You don't. I know what I'm doing. A guy came to our convention back in May, and he said, you know how I know that you're doing a good job and you don't actually keep a copy of the private key? You're still alive today. No one's killed you. I'm like, yeah.
Don't mess with people's Bitcoin. And then in the future, it'll be don't mess with your Texit coin.
We've never had one fail. But what I took back to the community is I said, look, I can't prove to you that I destroyed the key pair, but here's what I can do. I can give you my production log. I can show you who's in the room, what day these coins are made, how many I made, what type we made. I can put my company stamp on it. I can sign it, and I can publish that data to the blockchain where it's immutable, it's permanent, it's decentralized, it's out there forever. We use IPFS, the interplanetary file system, and the blockchain to secure that thing and put it out there forever. So you've got my signature on a paper that says I did a good job, right? Is it absolute proof that I didn't lie? No. But is it more than everyone else out there is going to give you? It sure is. So if I tell you that I'm going to take your money, I'm going to build a community, and I'm going to pay out cash commissions, and I'm going to build a mine, and I'm going to pay the electric bill, then how about I just take my receipts and my proof of all that and publish it to the blockchain? We're in this industry that just yells and screams transparency, decentral, and how many people actually do it, right? So I'm like, okay, I'll be the guy that is the change that he wants to see in the crypto community. So that's what we're starting to do now. We're taking pictures of the receipts, publishing them out there, sharing with our community so that we can start to eliminate some of the trust that's required to take this leap of faith. So you say, okay, this is a guy that seems to know what he's doing. He seems to have been around a while. He seems serious about his mission. He has told us that he's going to share information with us that nobody else would, not in affiliate marketing and not in crypto, not in mining. But, you know, look, the flip side of that coin is we're small. Laugh all you want, but we're honest. We'll be upfront with you, and, you know, we think we can accomplish our goals. That's the objective. But we'll share that journey, as much of it as we can along the way, so that you can decide as to whether or not we're following through on what we say we can and will do. And if you see that happening, and you see the momentum growing, and you see the excitement and the enthusiasm coming into the TEXITcoin space, then jump on board and mine along with us and have a great time.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to track your journey on this. I mean, you're just getting started.
Yes, just getting started.
So,
Track it. Like I said, hold us accountable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the accountability is what keeps our hands clean. And it's so easy. This industry is just huge. It's getting bigger. So we're doing all the right stuff. We just have to not mess it up. And it's harder to do that than it sounds, right? You know, when a lot of money comes in and people get creative and they start going off the deep end, that's when things go sideways quickly. So our job is to not mess it up. That's the top priority for me as I continue to run and manage TEXITcoin.
Way to keep that clean. I always say the alternative to that, because we'll all be doing very well just as long as you don't screw up.
That's it. That's it. We're at the right place. We're having the right conversation. We're doing it the right way. It's again, it's the difficult way, but it's the way that we plant the roots deep for it to last. And that's what I want above all else. I don't need a pump and dump. I don't care if we hit $20 tomorrow or not. I prefer not to have it, because then we crash down and everyone goes, oh, it's dead. I mean, how many times did that happen in the crypto community? So I don't want that. I want to build a real mine, real data centers. Our goal is 35 sites across the state of Texas, 35 megawatts of power. We're working on some custom stuff that I don't want to talk too much about yet, but we'll further decentralize it into our community. And so we got a long way to go, both in terms of building the mine and building the community. But if we do a good job and we share our results for better or worse, and we're upfront and honest with people, I think that will shine through and say, most people will say, this is a place where I want to be. This is a project that I'd like to be associated with. I'm willing to put my money to use, and let's go.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the information and sharing your story and more about TEXITcoin. And we wish you the best of luck. And it is going to be fascinating to see how it evolves. Thank you. Keep an eye on it. Like I said, hold us accountable. Whatever feedback you have from you and your community, we'll listen to it. Anything that's respectful and courteous. Are we doing it exactly the right way? I think so. But if people have suggestions on how we can do it better, then bring it on. Awesome. Thanks for having me, Charlie. Great to be here. All right. Have a great day.